In these last days, in these end times, we definitely understand that darkness and evil and all these things of celebrating death and whatnot are going to be overtaking the world, and we can see it every single day as things roll towards the day of the Lord. But with it being Halloween, things seem to escalate during these times, being that if you look into the past of Halloween and where it comes from, it is a very evil and satanic day that a lot of the shamans and mystics would celebrate. And we just decided to take it and make it some type of cute little thing. And we're seeing the same thing happen with evil and occultic practices such as Ouija boards, where the history of them and what they're used for is very evil and dark, but yet they've become something of a game in today's society, just like the rest of Halloween. And so much so that even the mainstream media is starting to put out articles with a step by step guide on how to safely use your Ouija board this Halloween. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Zach, the Wretched Watchman, and I'm bringing you a little bit of news. We've just come to the point now where, as Scripture told us, where good becomes evil and evil becomes good. We are at this point now where the spotlight, the celebration of evil things, has just hit an all-time high, and as we know, it's only going to get higher from here. We've gotten to the point now where mystery religion is not only just quietly creeping into places, but it is just bashing in the door and being welcomed in and almost treated as royalty. And so much so, we've got the mainstream media that is now putting out guides for all to read on how to safely use your Ouija board. And as Christians, we understand the only way to safely use a Ouija board is to not use one at all, except maybe for firewood. But, anyways, we've gotten to this point where if we take a look at this article from the New York Post, this is legit coming from their astrology department, which, of course, that's all wrapped up in mystery religion in itself. We see how to use a Ouija board, your guide to communing with the dead safely this Halloween. Now, for us who study the word, follow Jesus, and we go about our lives watching prophecy unfold, this is a pretty obvious thing for us to go, wow, that is absolutely absurd. That is evil. Nobody should be doing this. But to the rest of the world, I would say most of them fall into one of two camps. One, they look at it as a joke, where this is just something fun that they do on a weekend on Halloween or something like that. So much so that even Ouija boards are created by the toy company of Hasbro. Or they fall into the category of they want to experience the thrill of communicating with the dead and being wrapped up in these occultic ritual practices like this. And it's unfortunate that both of those seem to be the main camps. And yeah, so much so we've got this article. So I want to take you guys through this article and just see how absurd this world has become when it comes to celebrating evil things. So come along with this journey for, if you will, please. So if we look at this, of course, they start out with the astrology stuff here with this with Scorpio season in full swing. So those are your signs, astrological signs, and whatnot, of course. And the veil between life and death at its most threadbare, many a curious soul will be seeking communion with the dearly departed, often via Ouija board. This is just all sorts of concerning. This enduring piece of Americana, interesting, has fascinated and horrified the populace for over a century. Our intrigue only heightens with the darkening of days and the time of year which fields lay fallow and ghosts get their undead due. I find that interesting where it says with the darkening of days. Now I understand it's the writer's probably making reference to Halloween at this time, but as a prophecy watcher, this means a lot more because this truly is the season of darkening days as things continue to count down for the day of the Lord that begins after that rapture. And as we know, all hell is going to break loose. And I don't think the people that are going to be laughing and having their fun with Ouija boards are really gonna understand what hell truly feels like until after that time. And it's unfortunate that they're going to do that because they don't have Jesus. But this is the sad reality of where we live. That's for sure. Now it says gaming resource Poggers reports gaming. It's so interesting that they attach Ouija boards to gaming. But Poggers reports, for example, that Google search interest for Ouija boards increases by 143% in late October. 143% increase. Man. And that's just on Google. How many search engines are out there? Add all that up. According to the research, over half, 50.9% of Americans have called, this is just Americans, by the way. Americans have called upon the spirits in this fashion, while over 2/3, 68.7, say the boards possess supernatural abilities. Yeah. 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 Okay. So I think this is something that I think we kind of lose track with, honestly. As Christians, we tend to look at this stuff and go, oh, I mean, what they're doing is not good, but there's nothing behind it. Magic is real. There's a reason why the Lord tells us to stay away from anything that has to do with witchcraft and magic and sorcery and necromancy and divination and all these things, because it's very real, but it's very dark. It doesn't matter if it's white magic or dark or black magic. White magic is just a fancy way or a nice way of putting little flowers and unicorns on black magic. They just usually attach it to something like, oh, it's good for the planet or it's good for the soul type of thing. It's a healing type of thing, but it's still magic and we are to stay away from it. And when it comes to things like crystals and rituals and putting on spells and seances and Ouija boards and stuff, this is real stuff and we are to stay away from it. Now, a lot of people understand that, but there's a lot that don't. They don't think that this stuff is legit and real when it's actually legit and real. It's just it's not of God, and so we are to stay away from it. So yes, supernatural is correct. Perhaps because of this belief, nearly a third of respondents, 33.8, my bad, claim they would never try their hand at contacting the dead, while a quarter of those that have played, again, here they're just trying to cutesy it up as like a game, admit they would avoid playing in the future. How to play it safe and safely play, read on to learn more. There's no safe way to use this stuff. Now, here we go. It's got a picture. You might not be able to read that little subtext that they got on there, but it's talking about Scorpios are basically made for seances and the Ouija boards that are a part of them. Oh my goodness. Fun fact, Ouija is the unofficial board game of the Scorpio. Again, they just continue to cutesy this up like it's no big deal. Scorpio rules the 8th house of sex, death, and transformation, and natives exist a little closer to the veil between the living and the dead than most. Comfortable in shadow and unafraid of literal or metaphorical darkness, the Ouija board is a welcome game to Scorpions. I think that's supposed to be Scorpios. That's a little typo there. Consorting with ghosts, conspiring with spirits, seeking answers from the other side, and being the bravest person in the room is not just their forte, but their preference. Whether you're a Scorpio or not, Ouija, virgin, or old haddock communing with the spirit world, here are some helpful hints of experimenting with necromancy. That is a legit sorcery. That is a legit witchcraft, is necromancy. And we are told to stay away from this. We are told it is an abomination. If we go to Deuteronomy 18, 9 through 12, it clearly says, When you come into the land which the Lord your God is giving you, you shall not learn to follow the abominations of those nations. What are those abominations? There shall not be found among you anyone who makes his son or daughter pass through the fire, or one who practices witchcraft, or a soothsayer, or one who interprets omens, or a sorcerer, or one who conjures spells, or a medium, or a spiritist, or one who calls up the dead, necromancy. For all who do these things are an abomination to the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord your God drives them out from before you. We are clearly told through scripture that this stuff, whether they want to call it a game or not, is an abomination to the Lord. And so, what are we to do? We are to stay away from it. We are to run from it. We are not to partake in any way of doing this. And of course, around this time, we have a lot of Halloween horror movies coming out where they put emphasis on this stuff. And of course, you have a bunch of people who think, oh, it's just fun things that the movies did. Let's go out and play a game of this. It's just not good. So step by step, what are they saying here? 1, don't use a Ouija board alone. Oh, bring a friend, you say, because committing an abomination to the Lord isn't just for you, but it's for you and your friends. Joanne Jones, a renowned psychic at Trustic Psychics, cautions users against using Ouija boards alone due to the potential for psychological or emotional distress. You don't say. So partaking in evil witchcraft practices might play a part on your health. Interesting. When you engage with the supernatural, it can be mentally taxing and without a supportive environment, potentially challenging. Participating in groups not only offers a safety net, and the only safety net out there is Jesus, safety net of emotional and mental support, but also a collective experience that can be shared and later discussed to process the event in a healthy way, she said. And then a cute little tagline to end it: death, always more fun with a friend. Misery loves company proves true again, I say. C, number 2, be polite. Oh yeah, you got to be polite to the evil spirits, don't you? Whether dealing with relatives, wait staff, or the undead, manners matter. Joanne Jones maintains the importance of formally closing a Ouija session by saying goodbye, and moving the planchette to goodbye cannot be overstated. This action not only represents a respectful farewell to any entities possibly engaged, but also a clear end to the session, providing psychological closure to participants. It's a boundary that separates the participants from any perceived spiritual interaction. Shut it down and close the lines of communication with the proper send-off. Here's the thing. They're talking about saying goodbye to this stuff. When you are inviting these spirits, when you are inviting demonic presence into your area around you, and you don't have the Holy Spirit, you are not sealed and protected from these spirits. You are opening the door for full-on possession. And some people might look at me and go, you're taking it too far, you're acting crazy. I am not. Demonic possession is a real thing. And in these days, it's only increasing tenfold. We are seeing it all around us, whether you want to admit it or not. And when you play with these things, and I use the word play on purpose here, because that's what we see the theme of this. When you mess around with these things, you are actively opening the door for something very, very evil and dark to come in. That's why I constantly warn about things that we have around our houses, symbols, little trinkets, pictures and artwork and stuff. If it contains any of these things that have some type of dark background to them. That's why I even warn against things like Christmas trees and whatnot, because if you take a look in the history of that, that's something that we definitely do not want to have around us. When you have these things around, they are just invitations. They're little antenna to bring in spirits that attract them. It's the same thing with doing yoga. You're turning your body into an antenna that invites these things in. And the same thing with Ouija boards. When you are using them, you are actively saying, hey, demons, come on in, have some fun. I was told to be polite to you and to invite a friend because I don't want you to psychologically damage me in any type of way. Do you see how absurd it is? There's no way to protect yourself from this stuff. But the world just says, "Hey, let's have some fun with it." It's an abomination. Number 3. Let's see. Number 3, don't use a Ouija board in a graveyard or any location presumed to be haunted. Why is that? Location, location, location. As Jones explains, choosing a setting for a Ouija session should be done with the highest respect and consideration for both the living and the departed. Graveyards and haunted locations can intensify feelings of fear and anxiety due to their associations with death and their afterlife. We don't want to give those evil spirits, the dark spirits and demons and whatnot. We don't want them to have any feelings of anxiety or anything like that. No, we wouldn't want that. Moreover, such activities in these sensitive locations may be considered disrespectful to the resting and their surviving loved ones. You don't say. Keep going. Number 4, in relationships, role play, work, and Ouija practice, set your boundaries. Jones stresses the importance of clear boundaries and open communication between both participants and spirits. Yep, we got to be polite and make sure we don't give them anxiety, so we must have open communication. The emotional well-being of each participant should be crucial. Respect for personal boundaries, genuine consent, and an ongoing awareness of emotional states throughout the session is critical. Establishing clear rules, such as avoiding certain types of questions or setting a time limit, ensures that session remains controlled and consensual. Controlled, huh? The only one in control of that is whatever evil you're inviting in. Furthermore, participants must always feel free to withdraw if they become uncomfortable. In life and death adjacent gaming, consent is king and boundaries are bond. Gaming. It's just, they just continue to just fluff it up as cotton candy. Oh my goodness. And then step 5, the last one. Jones states this is maintaining a positive and respectful atmosphere. Jones states launching a Ouija board session should be approached with a light-hearted yet respectful demeanor. It's essential to maintain a positive and welcoming atmosphere throughout the session to ensure that all participants feel safe and valued, regardless of personal beliefs regarding the spiritual aspect of the Ouija board. Treating the session participants and any potential spiritual entities with respect contributes to a positive experience for all involved. Happy Halloween and merry necromancing, one and all. We live in a very sinful and fallen world. And we're living in, again, the end times, these last days, where you can just see the dark cloud. It's just covering the earth. And it's only getting thicker and it's only getting darker. And people are becoming just so much more comfortable doing things like this. Halloween is a day that we as Christians should have no participation in any way, shape, or form. I know a lot of churches like to spruce it up and just change the type of thing and do trunk or treat or fall harvest type of stuff. But you're still in some way participating in the holiday that it is Halloween. Just like Halloween is just a participating day in Samhain, and you can go further back than that. Just because it has a different color paint on it does not mean that it's any different. And that goes for all holidays out there. but this one is here upon us now, and we're seeing the elements of just openly accepting, promoting, and throwing some sugar on top of something so evil, dark, and very, very dangerous. It's not a game. No, it's not a game. We are to avoid that because it is an abomination to the Lord. Anyways, I just thought I'd let you guys know darkness is continuing to grow from here. Continue to stand strong and be busy in the Lord's work. Warn people of what is coming and share the gospel of the one true Jesus Christ with people. And I warn you, I won't tell you what to do, but I warn you, I personally would stay away from anything that has to do with Halloween in any way, shape, or form. That is not for us, and it's an abomination to the Lord. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you here. Peace out. Maranatha.